In today's video I'm going to make this as a special video for those people, one at least person that asked me this question regarding these motorsport M-tech or whatever uh, shifter knobs that are definitely not the same as the rest of the rest of the shift knobs. This is the older style E46, E39 shift knob, and when you go into E90 and such, they change, BMW changed the style a little bit, but this is a special one. Well, the question was that I was asked how to remove this silver part, this silver ring, and this is the original, by the way, and the ring is not silver anymore, so this one is kind of fake, a fake basically shift knob, but it should demonstrate the general idea how to get around this silver ring and how to remove it. So I guess I don't know if this is going to be clear enough or that much helpful, but in essence what's happening here is so it also might be useful for somebody else. So unlike the regular shifter boot and regular shifter knob that just goes over the shifter lever and sits against the boot, you can see that there's the back side of this that just slides over the shifter lever and just sits like this. Then you have a knob goes over it, and that's pretty much the standard configuration, I guess. This one is special in a sense that you have a different shift boot that is totally different. It's got nothing, doesn't flare on the back side. So it's basically what happens here. There's this retaining ring or something on the back. The bottom of this silver, black in this case, thing ring goes through the shifter, through the ladder like this. It comes out on the back side, and then this plastic retaining ring is attached on the back side. So things are plastics are melted here, so there is no screws or anything. Like there's some glue. So this is still doable and replaceable. But you are going to break a couple of things, and then you have to just re-glue things back. So it's not going to be exactly like the factory, but it's still going to stay. As we can see, there is two holes here, and so that's where the pins of this thing went through, right here. In any case, long story short, you have a different shifter boot, and then those two pins are probably what's like holding it really to the plastic ring, to the silver. Well, again, that's not silver. So you have to break these pins, or at least cut the heads off, and then this thing comes off like this. Yes, it is possible to install it. The front is just a locking tab, so yeah, it just catches on this, and of course you have leather in between these. When you reinstall it, you basically just, the leather is going to be here, and then you have to my guess is that you are going to, and I'm going to at some point when I finish the boot rework, you just have to probably epoxy this in place, or just epoxy everything in place, or glue it in place. So it kind of is not the an ideal solution, but that's what you have to do. And if you do it properly, it's going to stay. It's not going to be any different from the factory. So this comes off. Now this next thing is this ring, and it also comes off, but this one is harder to remove compared to even a ZHP shift knob, but it comes off. This one has been glued back on permanently, I guess, at this point. So, well, this is the shift knob that the upgraded list. So there's a piece of a red Alcantara here, and this is also Alcantara. It's not perforated leather anymore, and this is all OEM factory, and the emblem too, except that this has been painted and the leather has been changed, and it's fairly heavy. But the bottom line is, once this ring comes off, you kind of, this is going to be hard, but it's still doable. You have to remove this silver thing. So there is no good way. Unfortunately, I wish I filmed this when I was taking this one apart, but there is no good way to really remove it and not really break something. But this thing it's glued, somewhat glued in place, so you kind of have to just uh, try and use a plastic pry tool and just start. Basically, you have to find a way to separate it with a pry tool, plastic pry tool. That's my suggestion. Especially if you're replacing the leather. If you're going to redo the leather, then you kind of don't care if you are going to damage this leather or not. Any kind of a plastic pry tool. I'm using this screwdriver as an example, but don't use a metal anything, or at least wrap it up with anything like tape or something. And you have to also be and just basically start working this off. The thing here is that you don't want to really work against this plastic, because anything sharp or hard like metal is going to really cause some damage to the plastic. Fortunately, I did not do any damage on this one. I think I was grabbing this with like channel locks or something, wrapped it up with a tape, and then try to just move it around. So there isn't a good way, the same as with the ZHP knobs. Basically, there is not really a good way of removing this, so you have to just try to pry it off and maybe wrap it up with a tape and get a set of channel locks or something. And just basically have to break the factory glue loose. And once that happens, this comes off, and then you can do whatever with the leather. You can peel the leather off, and you can do whatever you plan on doing. And then when you install it back, it's basically kind of have to just reuse. Well, you have to use glue, not reuse glue, but you have to reuse the idea of using glue, I guess. That's what I was thinking. Just glue it back on. By the way, this knob is probably, this is not, it is fake. So the factory one is again, I probably should have mentioned that you cannot buy this knob separately from the boot. So you buy this as a package, comes in like this. So you just replace the whole thing basically. As of now, it's close to $300, well, like 260 cost-wise. But if you just want to redo some the leather on it, or you want to replace the boot itself with Alcantara, whatever, or just different leather, whatever, it's still doable. It's plastics and leather. You can cut it, drill it, punch it. It's not that hard, I guess. So and again, so this goes back with glue. I think I epoxied it in place. As you can see, this looks just as good as it can be, not worse than the factory. And I just didn't like silver, and it kind of matches this theme, I guess. So this goes back on. You reinstall this onto the shift boot, and then from the back you just reinstall this, and that's pretty much the process of or the details, I guess, not the process but the details of this disassembly and reassembly, I guess. I wish I filmed all of this, how I took it apart, how I reworked the leather and all, but I guess what I was saying, that apparently not a whole lot of people care about reworking these and watching videos of that kind. So I started to do some of those videos, but then gave up basically because they don't really those videos don't gather a lot of views. In any case, this is an example of what can be done. And as an example, this shifter knob is definitely shorter than pretty much everything else. Again, that's E46, E39 style, definitely shorter. Although the reason why I'm kind of not 100% sure if I want this on my car, because this one is about as heavy as a ZHP, a little bit less probably, but I managed to make these significantly heavier. As you can see, this is another one that's going to be refinished soon. This one is waiting for its turn. I think I will keep this factory wood grain finish because it's in a perfect condition. I don't want to cover this up with anything, but the leather is going to be replaced and the emblem is going to be replaced. This one basically gives you an idea how this starts to look. Again, that's actually a factory leather. It's really smooth, and that's what was on older cars generations, this kind of leather. I do like the more modern. This is E90 leather, by the way, or at least E90 generation leather. That's basically that piece that and that I had, and as you can see, this matches the. This is also the original shifter boot, and this leather is, and it matches what's on the seats, by the way. So I like this grain on the leather, and if you look at the automatic shift knob, the grain here is the grain structure and all is pretty much the same. So it's kind of all matching, although this is an E46 again. Well, there is nothing wrong with using this on E90 also, and it's actually, I like it the way this thing is in your hand. I like this a lot. This is a really nice shape, and like I said, this one is heavier than this, and well, it's a little bit taller. But if you go with an M3 shifter lever that is much shorter than anything standard, this kind of gives you back a little bit of a, I guess, shift feel. Because if you combine an M3 shifter lever and a short handle like this, in my opinion, the transmission becomes a little bit too tight to shift, and it's not the greatest feel. I don't know. It's just, maybe it's my transmission that is tight, but I found that a short shift knob like a ZHP and an M3 shifter lever, that's a little bit too heavy to shift, or too hard. In any case, I got sidetracked a lot, a ton, and I'm going to go back to the next part, or to the next video now. So I hope this answers those questions of how to, and unfortunately, again, I did not film any of this rework process, and I couldn't show how this was removed and how this was reinstalled, but all I can say that it is doable. It's not that hard, and you can have a perfect result even if you don't have a whole ton of experience. I mean, experience helps. This is not the first attempt of me trying to rework this. You may ruin one or two of those knobs, but when you gain the experience, things start to really come out nice. So it's doable, and the process or the details have been already explained in this video, so this should be it for now.